Hey, Portland. I don't know if you heard, but there is active tuberculosis in South Portland. Thank you to my friend Sarah, who's out Bendway, for alerting me to this story. I am going to reference an OPB article from May 15th of this year. Again, the title by Michelle Wiley is Multnomah County Confirms Case of Tuberculosis at South Portland School. County officials say that the person may have been contagious over a period of 9 months. Multnomah County health officials have confirmed one case of active TB at a middle school in Southeast Portland. The case was confirmed at Lane Middle School, according to a release from the county. The person, quote, may have been contagious September 3rd, 2024 through May 1st, 2025. The health department is attempting to contact those who may have been exposed. Tuberculosis is a bacterium that typically spreads through close face-to-face contact over several hours with a person who has an active infection. County health officials say school outbreaks are rare, and even people living in the same household as a patient may not contract TB. TB is not actually that effective at spreading itself. Nonetheless, before the introduction of antibiotics, TB was the number 2 killer of people in the United States. It was the number 1 killer of people between 18 and 30. In 1900, TB killed about 200 people out of every 100,000. This is a subject that really interests me because my grandmother's first husband died of tuberculosis not long before antibiotics came out to treat it. And I would not be here today if he had lived. But tuberculosis left my grandmother a young widow of 3 boys and caused tremendous grief and hardship for her, obviously, and for her sons. TB is caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis, and according to the World Health Organization, it mostly affects the lungs and can appear very mild for several months before you get really sick. TB can also infect your bones, where it is extremely painful. Symptoms can include a mild cough that lasts longer than 3 weeks, but the cough gets worse and you start coughing up blood or sputum. You have chills, fever, chest pain. Not everybody who contracts TB becomes actively ill. You can have active TB or inactive TB. I don't know if they still do this a lot, but as a military kid, when we would move around and I would have to change schools, I'd have to get a TB titer test to make sure, if you test positive for it, it means you've come in contact with TB and maybe you need to have a run of antibiotics or a chest x-ray. People who have a positive TB titer may have no symptoms, they don't feel sick, and they're not really able to spread the disease to people, but they'll get a positive test. I keep pointing to my arm because that's where they do the test. But people with active TB have a large amount of that bacterium brewing in their body, and they are able to spread it to other people, and they are actively ill. Either way, according to the CDC, treatment is likely needed to prevent the disease from getting worse or becoming fatal. TB is one of the leading causes of death from infectious disease across the world. We almost had it eradicated, y'all. It's really spiked in recent years. In 2024, the U.S. saw its highest level of TB cases in over a decade, 10,347 confirmed cases. Oregon has 84 reported TB cases in 2024. Multnomah County health officials say they're optimistic that community spread will not occur in this case. They have not been able to confirm any other connected cases. The treatment for TB is not like a quick run of antibiotics. It is months of medications. But the other option is to get active TB and die. So, Tuberculosis is largely treatable, although around the world we are seeing more and more antibiotic-resistant TB. Honestly, the reason that I wanted to talk about this is not because there was an isolated case of TB in Southeast Portland. It's because I want to once again draw attention to the fact that Elon Musk's gutting of USAID has resulted in the cancellation of multiple TB treatment programs around the world. And multiple sources have estimated that between 40 and 60,000 people have already died because Elon Musk cut off funding to their TB treatment. We're also going to watch many more people become infected with TB. Just like we are watching measles spread unchecked in the United States, when we end basic public health programs like vaccination, like antibiotic treatment for tuberculosis, lots of people die. These are diseases that we had almost eradicated or basically had eradicated either in the US or in other countries, and they are now all coming back with a vengeance. TB is a horrible way to go, and people are dying needlessly because Elon Musk wanted to fuck around in our government and steal our data. I just want folks to remember that Elon Musk cut all of these programs illegally. He didn't have the authority to do it. People are dying all over the world. Thousands of people are dying every single day. But it doesn't have to continue. These are people that are dying needlessly, and these programs could be reinstituted. We could start feeding the world's poorest children again, making sure that they get clean water, basic medical care. We could reinstitute programs that provide HIV medication and TB medication to people. These are really basic humanitarian services. I mean, we could also argue about how USAID is an agricultural subsidy because the food that we were feeding the poor people around the world was all grown in the US, so the government was buying all kinds of food from farmers that is now sitting unused in silos. Farmers cannot find a market for it. But also, these services protected the public health here and abroad. They were a good thing that we did for vulnerable people. They also bought our loyalty around the world. They bought our goodwill around the world. We were seen as benevolent. We were helping people in need. And that was politically advantageous. That was not something that was purely, self-sacrificial. That was something that was buying loyalty for America around the world. So now all of these people in these countries see that America has abandoned them. They see people dying right in front of them, and they know America did that. Donald Trump, Elon Musk did that. But also in the places where there is now this vacuum, we're seeing other governments want to come and step in and buy loyalty from these places, China especially. They're like, oh, look at this big power vacuum. We want to step in and we want to make people loyal to China. We want to make people really be pissed off at the US for abandoning them and say, we're going to step in and help you. America was never your friend. Look how they let y'all down. Look how they are letting your people die. Cutting USAID was foolish on so many levels. It never made America great. It was never going to make America great. It was never going to cut waste, fraud, and abuse. In fact, I saw a report out yesterday that said the lawsuits against Doge, they cost our government more than what Elon Musk saved by cutting programs. That Doge has probably cost us money in the long run. And now all of these programs that helped feed and care for poor people around the world, that were agricultural subsidies, that were good for our national security, all of that is now gone. And there is nothing to show for it except suffering and death. So anyway, Portlanders, yes, there is a case of TB here. Yes, we have RFK Jr. in charge of our national health. So expect to see more of diseases that previously were kind of no big deal or we'd pretty much wiped out. Prepare to see more of those rear their ugly heads. Just wait until I break out the bird flu stories from this past week. It's not going to be a great scene. Public health is really at risk here and abroad because of the cruelty, the incompetence, the weaponized incompetence of this regime. People are dying needlessly. Medicine, science is being set back decades. People are dying in the thousands, in the millions.